Hello and welcome to the Outdoor Cooking Man channel. What we're doing today is we are actually cooking steak fajitas. It actually turns out really good. It smells great. Now, what you saw in the very beginning is the actual ribeye steak shavings that I use. And I'll just be talking you through what we do to, or what I do to cook these great tasting fajitas. The first thing that I do, obviously, is I'll run over to the store and I'll grab 2 pounds of the shaving, and I'll actually put it into into a sauce, which I'll put up right now so that you can see it. And I let it sit in the refrigerator. The longer you let it sit in the refrigerator, the better. I think this time we let it sit for about 2 hours. But what you're going to see here today is you're just going to see me just really cook some amazingly tasting, amazingly smelling fajitas. And then what I do with the actual, the shells as well. So this is actually one of my kids' favorite meals and recipes. And I cooked this on a Wednesday night, so it doesn't take too long. What you're seeing here is I've already let the grill heat up for about 10 or 15 minutes. And soon, very soon, we're actually going to get to work, and you're going to see how quickly this all comes together. Now, this is a time lapse. In total, if I let this play out, it takes about 30 minutes, but I cut this down to about 10 minutes so that you can see the highlights. So in just a moment here, we're going to get to cooking, get to griddling, I guess we should say. In my obligatory disclaimer, if your wife recommends that you get a Blackstone grill, run for the hills. Simply put, she is going to want you to cook every single meal on this griddle because the food tastes amazing. For some reason, I don't know why, but it tastes so much better when you're cooking on the Blackstone griddle than versus when you're cooking, even grilling. If I had to rank them, I would say Blackstone grilling or griller, smoking meat, and then grilling, and then anything cooking inside, oven, stovetop. That would be my ranking for when I cook. So in just a second here, I'm going to let the music play for a little bit, but in a second, we're going to go ahead and we are going to we're going to start cooking here. All right, what I like to do is I always like to prep. I like to begin and end my cook the exact same way. When I begin my cook, after it's heated for about 15 minutes, I will put some olive oil down and I'll spread it evenly with a paper towel. And then we'll actually get to cooking here in just a second. As you can see, we're going to go ahead and put down the ribeye shavings and then that marinade that I mentioned a little bit earlier. Now, the ribeye shavings are a little bit frozen, and so what I have to do is I kind of have to chop it up and play with it to kind of break that freeze. Now, right now it's actually on high heat. Later on in this cook, I'll actually turn it down to a medium or medium high. But to get a nice even cook and to get this chopped up as quickly as possible, I just put it down there, and then you can see I grabbed some fajita mix right from the store. The cool thing about the store that I go to is it has done all of the hard work for me so that I can just go ahead and lay it out. Now, when I do this, what I like to do is I like to just lay it out there again on high heat and then put some olive oil on top so that it can cook evenly on both sides. But the cool thing about this cook is it actually goes relatively quickly. As you see there, I actually turned it down to about medium to medium high, and then I actually just kind of spread it evenly. One of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing is spreading it evenly and make sure that each part has an opportunity to cook on the Blackstone so that you have even cooking right there. And one thing that I've noticed is that the back of my Blackstone griddle actually cooks much faster than the front. And so I always have to keep that in mind when I'm cooking. I try and rotate it as even as possible. And then eventually I move everything to the front. So we'll let this play for a little bit so you can see what I do. I try and make sure everything is spread out pretty even. And I try and chop it up as I go. I find it easier to do it this way, especially if it's frozen ahead of time. Now, what you'll notice is I keep things separate simply because my kids don't like the vegetables. They like to have just the meat and the taco. But you can see it's cooking pretty even. And again, this is a time lapse. Now, right there, that's my favorite taco shell. For some reason, I don't think there's any other taco shell out there. It makes everything taste really good. And I actually will put that on the griddle as well and get a nice crispy both sides. But as you can see here, I try and just keep it moving and then spread it evenly and cut it both ways so that every piece of meat has its own little opportunity to touch the griddle. And we'll just keep playing with it, I guess, for a little while, but not too much, so that it dries out. But you can see here, add a little bit more oil on the fajita mix. And like I said, I'll actually post the sauce that I use. I don't know if it's available everywhere. It just so happened it's available in my store, and it tastes great. Makes everything taste really good. A nice even cook, as you can see here. Right, turning it once again, making sure everything gets an opportunity to touch the griddle, and chopped up evenly, because we don't want large pieces. I still have relatively small kids, so from time to time they try and eat too fast, put too much in their mouth, and it can cause a little bit of a choking hazard. So I want to make sure that I chop it up finely, as you can see here. As you can see, we're about done. We're almost done with this cook. There's just a little bit more left to do on the back end, but for all intents and purposes, we're really close to being done. My favorite part is, like I mentioned, to put down those taco shells and just eat them right from the griddle. But if we take a look, you'll see a close-up. Now, it happens relatively quickly, but you'll see a close-up of the meat after it's cooked right there, just like that. And then I'll actually put the fajitas in a bowl, fajita mix, and then we'll get a close-up of that too, just like that. So there you go. You can see those are the main players there. Then I turn the heat back up to high, and then we'll spread that out evenly, and then I'll put my taco shells down, and then we'll be ready to roll. And you'll be able to see how they cook, and those actually cook really fast. So you can see here, boom, those are my favorites. As I mentioned, they're probably available everywhere. And what we'll do is we'll throw them down just like that, and I can get about 6 on there, and we'll cook. And again, they cook fast because I like to cook them on high heat, and I like to get that crispy, that taste, that kind of almost like burnt taste, but it wind up tasting awesome. Tastes really good. So the cool thing about this is you can see they start to bubble up, and we flip them. Oh, those are perfect. It's almost undescribable how great they taste, especially with got little heat bubbles there. Keep them on for just a couple minutes on each side, and then we'll pop them off. Like I said, I will eat these. I can eat all of the tortilla shells as is, but then when you pop them on the grill, I can eat them straight off the grill. That's how good they taste, in my opinion. And then we're gonna pull them off just like this. They tasted amazing. And then really the final step is to make sure everything's turned up high, and then the cleaning. Cleaning's always the fun part. You can see all that steam there. I like to make sure my griddle is clean and prepped for next time. As I said, I like to start and end my cooking session the same way each time. And when I say start and end, it's with the olive oil that you'll see at the end of this video. But yeah, this is it. This is the outdoor cooking man, just cooking stuff that my kids love and enjoy. It only took about a half an hour to cook outdoors, outside. And you'll see I'll end this by putting down some olive oil and then using another paper towel, making sure it is prepped for next time. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have questions, comments, leave them down below. If you want to know about any of the recipes that I've used while cooking, simply just reply. If you want to know any, I do have the first link in the description. It actually will take you right over where you want to go.